You got to choose which one you want. Just a second. I'm going to do. No, I can't take it. Right. Well, nobody's free. Only Krishna is free in the absolute sense of the word. Krishna can think anything he wants to do. Krishna can do anything he wants to do at any time, any place, everywhere. He's the only being in that category. Every one of us is very different than that. We can think or want anything we want, but whether we can do what we want, that's a whole different story, because we're tiny living entities. And the actualization of any of our desires depends on the will of the Supreme. And so if the Supreme wills for our desire to be met, it's met, otherwise it doesn't get met. That's why two people can start out doing the same thing and one of them succeeds and the other fails. Because they essentially put the same effort into it, and they maybe even tried in a very similar way, but one succeeded and one failed. So we have the ability to desire, but we don't have the ability to cause a direct effect in the material world. Only the Supreme Lord witnesses. He's called the Upadrashta and Anumanta in Bhagavad Gita. He's the overseer and permitter. So he witnesses our desire. And then if he likes or he thinks we want it enough, he will allow that desire to take place. Hopefully that desire is good for us. If the desire is not good for us, Krishna may try to block us from that desire until we nag enough that we want this negative thing. And then he says, all right, go ahead, go for it. And it's up to you what happens next. It won't be pretty, but here it is, you know. And so that's the way it works. So we're only free in the sense of our mind, in the sense of our desire. And then usually we take that mind and that desire and we try to work in the world to get what we want. And even that is all about whether we get the mercy of the Lord or we don't. And in some cases, it may be the mercy of the Lord that we don't get what we want. Just a second. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That Krishna has always a better and bigger picture than you do. So if it comes to a toss-up between what you want and Krishna wants, put your money on Krishna. Because that's the one that's going to win, you know. And so it's better to try to understand that whatever did happen was actually what Krishna wanted to happen in some larger way. And if we think of it that way, then whatever we get or we don't get, whatever we do or we can't do, then takes a different light. We begin to understand it. But this is part of Krishna's arena.
Krishna allows or not permit something, it's good for us. It's not that he's competing with us.
Right. Well, for us, our whole life is based on whether I'm materially happy or not. And that's totally an illusion anyway. The one verse I was going to read that I didn't read was a verse I found yesterday. And it really struck me. It's in the 11th canto, 11:13:30. Yavan narata di punso na vivarteta yuktidi jagrati api swapnam avya swapne jagaranam nita. According to my instructions, one should fix the mind on me alone. If, however, one continues to see many different values and goals in life, rather than seeing everything within me, then apparently awake, one is actually dreaming, due to incomplete knowledge, just as one may dream that one has wakened from a dream. That's an interesting verse. This is the Hamsa avatar speaking to the Lord Kumar. And so he's saying that either we see everything through the connected point of Krishna, or we see everything in separate categories as different things. And because of different things, we just attend to them separately in our own little, and it's called a dream. And though we may imagine that we have knowledge, or we may imagine that we have progressed to something, it's just the same way that a person sometimes thinks they've woken up from a dream, but they're still in a dream. Something weird happened to me about a year ago. I was walking up the stairs, up to the 4th floor of my apartment there in Radha Govindamandir, and I felt really, really tired. God, I can barely get up these stairs. I feel so tired. And then something very strange happened. And that was that I realized I was already asleep. I thought, I've never had a dream about being tired before, which is weird, The whole thing was a dream, that I was dreaming I was walking up to my 4th floor thing, and then suddenly it dawned on me that I'm not walking up to the 4th floor. I'm already asleep. I wanted to go to sleep so much when I did. It was really weird. I've never had an experience like that before. So here's where you wake up from a dream in a dream, or in this case, you go to sleep in a dream in a dream.
I just want to ask something. I want to find out, like, how practicing devotees to protect themselves from having their Krishna consciousness turn into very kind of predictable, mindless ritual. For example, who worship Tulsi. But then when we read the translation of the song with some kind of mindful meaning, we realize that we are not in the emotional range of that song. It's really desiring to be a maid servant of Krishna.
And we're trying to get rid of our offenses step by step.
Right. So I'm just saying, how can we prevent that from happening? That we just go through like a ritual?
Well, lately I'm struggling a lot with trying to remember what it is I'm saying when I'm saying it. When I do the obeisances, when I do the Tulsi prayers, I think it's important to struggle to try to recognize what it is we're actually doing these things for. What's the meaning behind Tulsi? What's the meaning behind the Guru Puja? What are the words saying? If you don't, it gets really into, the tum 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 mudda 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 mantras that we kind of tend to mumble through all the time. Tum 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 mudda 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 tum 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 mudda mudda mudda. We're just mumbling these things and we don't even know what we're talking. What's that? Yeah, call me. Yeah. Right.
How can we prevent it from happening?
Well, I just force myself to think about it. I actually make an effort that, I'm saying this. Am I just blurbing it out, or am I trying to think about what's going on here? I mean, sometimes I don't. I mean, I'm the same way. I tend to just... Yeah, Narottam.
They are not Narottam Das Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
And Chandrasekhar Acharya, the Tulsi prayer. Yeah.
Every word very meaningful.
Right.
Right. That's why Prabhupada choose.
I think that's the one thing that saves the whole Bengali race, is the fact that they sing so many bhajans and they try to meditate something on the meaning. And since it's in Bengali, they can't ignore the words as easy as we can. What's that? That what?
Okay, we know someone
Liberated person. Well, what we really need to know, that's a question that comes up a lot when the debate about whether someone should be initiating guru comes up, whether someone's a liberated person, quote unquote, jivan mukta, or whatever kind of terminology you want to use. But really, what we need to know is not quote unquote whether someone's liberated in the abstract sense that we usually think about it, But what we do want to know is whether someone's connected with the disciplic succession and is not a cheater, you know. And that can be sussed out fairly easily. What's that? Right. What's that? Well, we judge by what they say, whether they say things that are, as we've been talking about, in harmony with what's in the scripture. They're not creating a new philosophy out of thin air somewhere, as people do. They find holes and put dragons and butterflies in there, you know.
Right.
Right. So that's not what they're doing. And at the same time, we see that their personal life isn't one where they're talking all these nice things, but actually they're having sexual relationships with people and doing all this weird stuff behind the scenes. You don't want that either. All those things are signs that things have gone sour, that this person's not a genuine, you know, exponent of spiritual progress. Yeah.
And also they are serving Krishna.
What is?
If they're
Yeah,
serving
they should be serving Krishna. Right? So you get those kind of indications. In Shastras it says, you know, Jiva Vegam, Udara Pasta Vegam, Etan Vegam, what is that? Jiva Vega, Manasa Chandra Kroga Vega, Jiva Vega, Udara Pasta Vega, Etan Vega, Yoga Shahitadira, Sarvam Apiman Kutivim Sasisyat. One who controls tongue, belly, genitals, anger, mind, and words is fit to make disciples all over the world. And then we have Tasmat Gurum Papadeta Jigyeshu Shrayanitamam Shabdi Parichanishtam Brahmani Pasamashrayam. You know, that one who has left aside all material things, or one who actually seriously desires real happiness, must seek out a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. Such a spiritual master is one who has seen the conclusions of scriptures and can convince others of such conclusions. Such people who have left aside all material considerations for reaching the Supreme Personality's glories are to be understood as bona fide spiritual masters. That's how that verse, that's Bhagavatam, you know. Brahmanahi Pratishtaham. Not Brahmanahi Pratishtaham, but what is it? Tasmad Guru Padita Jigyeshu Shabde Parichan Vishnatam Brahmani Samashra. And then we have, of course, that verse in Mahabharata, you know, that, what is that verse? Tarko Pratishta Suryato Vibinam Nasa Vishiryasya Matam Vibinam Dharmasya Tatvam Nihitam Guhayam Hajino Yenagata Sapanta. You know, that Tarko Pratishta, which means that dry arguments are always inconclusive. Tarko Pratishta Shruyata Vibinam, the scriptures seem to be saying different things. Shruyata Vibinam Nasa Vishiryasya Matam Vibinam, that a great Muni or a great philosopher is not recognized unless they say something different than everybody else. So, you know, what is this leading up to? You know, so first he's saying that dry arguments aren't going to give you the solid truth. Then he's saying that, secondly, that the Vedas or the scriptures themselves seem to be interpretable in many different ways. And then we find that people who talk about things oftentimes are basically just trying to make a name for themselves. And so, Dharmasya Tattva Nihitam Vihayam Mahajanam means that the solid truth of spiritual life is found in the heart of a pure devotee. So therefore, as the scriptures advise, one should seek whatever progressive path the Mahajans endorse and follow that path. That's how that verse reads. That's in Mahabharata. That's a very famous verse. That's Yudhishthira talking to the Yaksha. That was actually his father. Yeah.
Right now we have lost that love of God, and that's why we are trying to follow all these ways and staying in our senses
Right,
And you
right.
understand everything makes sense.